When Jesus says showing mercy and kindness, or the love that we show to one another, shows the world or the lost that Jesus Christ has truly come. We don't want the world to look at Christianity and see our lack of love, or to see that we aren't caring or kind, that we're brash. That is not the testimony that we want. But we want the world to see the affections that we have for each other, and that be the testimony of the hope that lies without us. And hopefully, through these circumstances, when someone can see our sorrow, but yet we're not without hope, they can see our pain, and yet we have a sense of joy. Of course, we mourn, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with lament. Paul says to weep with those who are weeping, to rejoice with those who are rejoicing. There are times to be mournful over our loss, and this is definitely one of these moments where it is it is a difficult time. There's death, there's suffering, there's pain. People are going without money. They're going without needs. So I am not pushing our church to put a smile on, trust in the Lord. He's sovereign. That is not what I'm calling our church to. What I'm saying is this suffering is not without purpose. What it does for those of us who struggle with the fear of loss, that we are afraid of dying or losing our job, all of that, what it exposes us to is that our hope has to be in God. And it has to be in the God who saves, who's gracious and merciful. And what he has promised is that through this life, he will sustain us for everything that we need. And then in the new life, there is no pain, there is no suffering, there is no loss. There is only peace and comfort. It is that hope that gets us through these days. And as more trials come into our lives, just to remind yourself that they are there to keep you from ever falling into the lie of Satan, that there is something that can be offered in this world that you have to have, that you must have, that it can be satisfied, and it can't. So as we hold each other, as we are gracious with each other, as we see these trials in our lives, I encourage us as a church that we would continue to communicate love and hope and comfort. We cannot judge one another. The moment I judge you for responding in fear or responding in a lack of joy, I am then guilty. What have I received from God? Or what do I own? What do I have that I have not received from God? So dear church and Christians, I encourage you to look at these trials and make sure that they are pointing out the frailties in our life so that we may set those frailties aside and look to Christ, our true and ultimate hope. And that we may do the same for those who are fearing death, who are fearing loss, and we can bring them the comfort and hope of Christ. Please do not downplay the trials. Please do not make light of them. Simply telling someone that God is sovereign doesn't relieve the pain. The only thing that releases the pain of this life is the hope of Christ and the gospel. So if we're going to offer anything, if we're going to try and make sense out of anything in all of this suffering, we have to do it by offering the hope that we have in Christ.
Thank you for listening. Today's reminder is from John Moffitt, pastor of Grace Reformed Church in Spring Hill, Tennessee. Everyday Grace is a listener-supported podcast. If you would like to help support our ministry, please visit theocast.org/give.